Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing. Sometimes you just have to put a new roof on your house. It's just, you have to. But other times, if you call Daniel Hood Roofing, you may find that all you need is a roof restoration. It can extend the life of your roof by more than a decade. And the lowest prices for roof replacements, restorations, I should say right now, that's right now in the summer. Summertime's the time to do it. Roof restoration from Daniel Hood Roofing. Check out danielhoodroofing.com today. Give them a call. They always have operators standing by. Daniel Hood Roofing. All right, back with David Ubben right here. Let me give some background. I'll try and break this down briefly and then turn it over to you. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, the PIF that everybody's talking about, is doing its best to sports wash the human rights issues inside the kingdom. Basically, they want everybody to look what we're doing with sports. Look at this team. Look at this sport we bought. Don't notice that we're sawing a journalist in half. Don't notice that women aren't allowed to drive or have to wear burqas and everything else. They've brought Saudi soccer teams, fine. They're loading them with pricey stars from Europe, and a lot of Europeans are now saying, hey, wait a second, that's what we do. We steal players from other places. They've partnered with WWE. They've partnered with Formula One. Most recently, they basically bought the PGA Tour, as most of you know. They, let's see, in England, they bought Newcastle United. I don't want to be xenophobic, so that's not where, it's not the fact that they're Saudi, it's the human rights issues. It would be the same to me if it's Vladimir Putin coming in. Who do you want to partner with? Well, the reason we're bringing this up is David reached out to a number of college administrators to see, what was it, 4 athletic directors?
Yeah, 4 athletic directors and 2 industry sources with a basic question. It's cheaper to have more influence here.
I'll let you talk about it right now. You asked them, okay, what happens if the Saudis decide, you know, we can make a big pull if we become the biggest booster at Alabama or Tennessee or Michigan? And the responses were honest and pretty good. Tell people what you heard.
I was just kicking it around in my head of, hey, you know, this thing is happening. It'd be a lot cheaper to have a lot more influence. You're spending $100 million on Dustin Johnson, where you could spend $20 million and be in charge of an athletic department.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I talked to a lot of ADs, and I think ultimately most of them sort of landed on the side of some schools going to have to make this decision, and there's no explicit rules saying that you can't do this. So the only thing standing between Saudis and college football would be the Saudis deciding that they want to do it, and the moral standings of athletic directors and athletic departments to say, hey, this is a bridge too far for us. We have a problem with taking money from the people who also gave money to the people who helped fund 9/11. Just a thought.
Yeah, could be an issue there. Yeah. But it's funny, our own government doesn't seem to mind. So would the Mississippi State Athletic Department mind? Would Tennessee, let's bring it home. If Tennessee, if they came to Danny White and said, we want to invest in your football program, my guess is, and it seemed to be what some of these athletic directors hinted at, that in most cases the school would probably say, we don't want to take the cash out in front. Why don't you get in touch with our collective over here and kind of go around? We won't be a big front page story that way. Is that an accurate way of looking at it? That probably they wouldn't be front. Look, we're partnered with the Saudis, but they would find a way to take the money.
Tennessee is tough because Tennessee.
All right, let's take it out of Tennessee.
You still in general. I think the quote that I got from a industry source basically said before the PGA, he believed probably 10% of people would have taken the money because nobody wants to go first. Well, the PGA has gone first. They're Saudi controlled now. He estimated that around 50% of the schools would. Most private schools probably would not. You sort of view yourself as high and mighty. We don't debase ourselves. Winning's not everything. But there's a lot of places where winning is everything, and it's very hard to recruit and get players. There's a lot of them in the SEC. This is very true, and it's very hard to get talent. Now all of a sudden, if your collective is working with instead of a $4 million war chest, a $30 million war chest. That changes things very quickly. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, I think most of the people I spoke with believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, at the very least, a school will have a decision to make.
Well, that's what I was going to say. In the end, do you think a school like Tennessee or Alabama or Georgia, a big gun in the SEC, would do it?
I don't think the big places would, but I think what one of the industry sources said is if you have, let's say UCF, okay, they start taking a bunch of money, and then UCF wins a national championship. He basically said, all these big schools said, we don't need it. Well, you just watch UCF win a national championship, and you might come back to say, hey, Saudis, there's 8 schools that are taking your money now. you got any more of those checks lying around? We'd love to be in that business now. I think that's something that could happen.
That's pretty amazing that we're in this point. But you think how long? In the next 5-10 years?
I would say within the next 5 years, at least somebody has to make the decision. It depends on the school. Like, that's the thing, is where is the school at? What's the state of the program? What's your recruiting base look like?
What's their money
complicated.
Like? What's the money?
That's the part of it too.
You look at Texas and Texas A&M; they're winning crazy, but they also have
Tons of
They got tons of money already. They've already got oil money.
Yeah,
it's just from here, not there. But I just wonder about some of these other schools. You make a great point with UCF. I was thinking Boise State, one of those that's just there on the cusp that wants to jump over. And you're right. Once the first Jones does it, everybody's going to try and keep up with the Joneses. It was a great report. It's always good reporting from you. The Athletic, I tell you, man, I love it. I go there every day. It's great stuff. I recommend it. And folks can read it there. Dave, thanks for coming in today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. When we come back, let's get the reaction from the rest of the panel. If Tennessee, for example, okayed a deal with their collective to go get money from the Saudis, what's the reaction around here? What's the reaction if it doesn't happen at Tennessee but it happens at Alabama? I'm guessing it wouldn't be the same reaction. Let's discuss that next on the Sports Source.